What's up, peeps? Welcome to the Up and After podcast. Grab a mug. Let's have a talk.
What do you want? It's too early for visitors.
I then awake as refreshed and recharged as a newborn child, ready to take on the day's challenges.
Welcome to the Up and After podcast, where today we're going to discuss the classic 2007 Cohen Brothers classic. So you gotta say classic twice because you gotta make sure people know it's a classic. This is No Country for Old Men, which I was very surprised to learn that Chris hadn't seen before our viewing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen. Oh, not only have I not seen this. Put that on silent. Not only have I not seen this, I've never seen any Cohen Brothers thing. So I haven't seen Big Lebowski either.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. And they also did that Macbeth movie, I think, with Denzel Washington. I think I might have to let me go check.
Tragedy of Macbeth.
Yeah. That's what.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. It was pretty good. But yeah, I haven't seen that. So this is my first entry point to the Coen Brothers. But I have to say, up top, really good movie. I've been thinking about this movie a lot since we watched it. It's been about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. So I want to preface this episode by saying, if this gets a little like film schooly, dissection-y, just bear with me. I'm just gonna pop off for a little bit, but I'm really excited to talk about it though. So
yeah, I've seen this one a few times, and I always just love sitting down with this movie because it's just one of those movies where everything seems to be firing. You know, the actors are doing amazing. The writing is just like all like full cylinders all the time. The cinematography is great. The feeling of tension throughout the entire thing. It's great. It's I believe this won the Best Picture award of the Oscars.
Yeah, I believe so too.
Which of course we don't care about award ceremonies, but might as well mention it.
Fair.
Yep. It's a good one. So you how you wanna talk about anything in particular?
Oh man. Well, I'm not gonna beat people over the head with my thesis just yet, or like my whole thing just yet. But we can just go by step if you want to. First, I want to say, did not know. There's a lot I didn't know about this movie. Watching. I had already seen clips, but the only clip that I usually saw a lot, and it seems like the only clip that most people bring up, is the gas station clip. I think it is a really good clip of like setting up tension, setting up like what these, or like who this specific character is, one of the main antagonists, setting up who he is in the situation without really understanding the context of the full movie. You still understand everything you need to know about this character. But yeah, that's the only thing I had seen. So going into this,
I remember when we were watching it, like every time a new character would show up, you're like, wait, that person's in this?
Right. I'm like, Woody Harrelson's in this? Fucking Josh Brolin is in this? I was like, I didn't even know that. Like, what the fuck? Yes.
Yeah, it's got a pretty good cast.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. I do think that it's funny that the gas station scene is the one that is like the most in the public zeitgeist. But I don't know. It's just it's a really simple setup, but they do a lot with the themes and the character work, I think. And even the character work is like subtle. But it's just it does so much with very little. Like it's not like a big explosion fest, and it's not even like that many characters. there's not like that many sets or like locations.
No, it isn't. It's like
it just
very tight. So, like everything has its place. Everything is needed, or like, sorry, everything that is shown is needed and has its place. Like it doesn't feel like it's like being bloated or it's like, why is this here? Or why are we here? Everything makes sense.
Yeah. I would say maybe not everything is mechanically needed for the story they're telling, but everything pushes like the theme they're going for.
Yeah.
Everything's part of like these unifying themes they're trying to talk about, which I like. Oh boy. Yeah. What else? You want to start from the beginning?
I already told you I have no Aqua amigo.
Yeah, you seem very angry at Josh Brolin's character.
Oh man, tell me about it. But I think okay, so yeah, never mind. But yeah, I was pretty upset at Josh Brolin throughout this film. Because this man had it made, but
I do think it might be a bit confusing because it does look like it's nighttime. So it's like he's going back at night and the guy's probably dead. But I'm pretty sure it is just like the storm is making it look dark because he like runs away later and you can see it's still daytime.
Yeah, it might be one of those things where like this probably happened around like, I don't know, 4 o'clock. He probably went back at like 6, 7 maybe. But I swear I thought was like that was like early 11 o'clock and he went back at like 7. I'm like, bro, give it up. That dude is long gone.
Which ended up being the case. Oh my god, when he goes back, one of my favorite. It's so simple, and it's something that like I'm sure anyone could come up with to do, but it's so effective how he gets back there, and he's like once again going through it, and he keeps looking back up at his truck. And it's all for the setup of there being a second truck there.
Yeah.
At, like the last time he looks back up. And that is so terrifying, but it's so well done. I love that part.
Also with the shot, like, because it's dark too, so you just see the silhouette. And it's just like, yep, nope. Get the fuck up out of there.
So good. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah, that's cool.
But, you make, excuse me, you make the comment of him being like him going back for this guy is like a really dumb idea.
Yeah.
And I mean it's fair if we're talking purely mechanical. But the rest of the movie, I love how every character seems really smart. Like no one makes really dumb decisions in this movie outside of, the less important characters like the mom telling a random person where they're going when they're being hunted.
Yeah, but she's also
getting Josh Brolin killed.
Doesn't she have something going? Oh no, she's sick, but she has cancer, but not like any dementia.
Obviously, it's like she would know what. that would happen, but
true. But I work with a lot of older people. They'll just tell you anything. So at this point, she's very truthful.
But I just like no one does. There aren't any big moments in the movie where I'm like, dude, what do you do? Like, why would you do that? Everything I'm just like, no, like that makes sense that you would be doing it that way, and I think that's really important for me. I think I get annoyed really easily by characters in movies making dumb decisions.
Right, and I think what people don't understand is like when you have smart characters, it's really rewarding to see the back and forth between smart characters.
It's hard to write smart characters because you have to write someone who, in theory, could be smarter than yourself.
Exactly.
And so the limit of a character's intelligence is limited to the writer's intelligence,
Yeah, and that's why you have two writers for this movie.
I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why people kind of like Death Note is because you have two characters who are pretty smart and trying to outthink each other.
It's similar here in that you have these two fucking killers who are just trying to outmaneuver each other. But I think they're both smart, but it's kind of clear that Josh Brolin's character is like constantly on the back foot. He's dealing with, like they do a great job of making Anton seem like he's something really just inhuman.
Oh my god!
Only to pull the rug out from you at the end by showing he's like no more. He's no more like overly human or whatever than anyone else. Like he could get fucking blindsided by a random car accident.
Yeah,
I think that's great.
But he's really strong because the other guy fucking died immediately. And Todd just fucking shook that shit off, snapped his fucking arm back, and was like, "All right."
But yeah, man, I love like the stuff in the motel where they do their best to make you kind of understand the layout and like where the rooms are positioned and what each of the characters is doing with very little dialogue.
I think that's
how,
done
how he's hiding the money and shit.
really well. Like at no point where I was like, "Wait, what is happening?" The only time I was like that is like obviously when spoilers, Josh Brolin character dies. I was like, wait, so they're just like skipping over it, like.
Yeah, but I think it's supposed to be shocking in that way. Like you like there's another moment like that I'll talk about towards the end. But you think, we've spent the entire movie following this chase and mainly following Josh Brolin in his attempts to get away.
Yeah.
That it's just such a shock to the system that they kill him off screen. You know? And it's not even Anton who does it, man. It's the cartel gang, right? Or whatever.
And I think it's one of those things that, like, on top of this whole movie's just tension, the movie, right? So it's like it also builds that tension because it's not even like they immediately show it. They almost take you through the eyes of his wife too, like. So like she doesn't know, so we don't know. Like it's well, man, it's done so well. I really enjoyed it. But
yep.
Yeah.
So
how do you? I know I said we can go by step, but clearly we're all over the place, and I'm cool with that. Just for this movie, how did you feel about what's my guy's name? The sheriff. What's his?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes, Tommy Lee Jones character.
Sheriff Bell. How do I feel about him as a character?
Yeah, of course.
I thought it was interesting. I'm pretty sure the novel is like, I'm pretty sure he's like the main character of the novel. I haven't read it. I only know a little bit about it. But I find it interesting that he is a character who seems like he is like ahead of the curve. Like he is making these connections that, the other, like pretty much the only other cop we see, like his little deputy guy.
I love that guy, by the way.
He's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But he's making these connections, and he seems like he's close to being able to kind of engage properly with the plot. But he never. By the time he finally gets there, the plot's kind of over.
Yeah,
Josh Brolin gets killed, and he's too late. And that's just very interesting in that way.
It's
like you think he in another movie he'd be the character who he's figuring stuff out, he's getting close, and then he shows up at the end to save the day,
Right. I think also, to me, I seen him. I mean, I think he was like scared a lot of the time, and that's why he didn't want to engage with like the plot as much, like he was, because I think he is a sheriff, so I think he's like, okay, I want to be helpful, but at the same time, he said it time and time again, he's like, I'm too over this shit. Like, I don't want to die.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest theme of the movie is this idea that Sheriff Bell thinks that crime is becoming worse and worse, and that the human criminal mind is just becoming so warped and like violent and horrifying that it's just becoming impossible to actually deal with. But when he visits his I think it's his cousin towards the end, it's like, no, this is like, it's always been this way. There's always been this depravity to the criminal mind that we've had to deal with. And to think that things are only getting worse around your time is like what he says, like, that's the height of hubris,
Yeah.
I think that's a really fascinating.
Yeah, I was going to since you brought it up, I kind of want to dive into my film school shit. I'm probably going to be I might be kind of wrong in like recollecting and telling everything, so forgive me. This is just a thing to incite more conversation about this movie and about film in general. But basically, I didn't know, once again, about this movie. So going in and like watching all the way through, by the end, I was like, I did not know this was a film noir movie. Like, I thought it was, like, I didn't know what I thought it was. I thought it was just like maybe like an action thing that people just really love.
Sure.
But so like I kind of want to go through the history of noir to get us to this point in this film.
Okay.
But basically, if you don't know what film noir is, it's basically like a French. I don't know if actually it started in France. That's the one thing I don't know. but obviously noir is French. But basically, in after World War II, like this boom in like filmmaking known as noir started, where practically when people were coming back from the war, it's almost like they thought differently about America or about society as a whole. So things became more darker. That's why you have like crime became more, more crime was happening. So basically film noir was like, okay, well, we'll have like people or like cops or sheriffs who are like on this case of like these murderers, but the cops are always a step behind, or they're always like not really good at their job. They're always failing to sorry, I'm looking for
solve the case.
Thank you. They're always failing to solve the case. On top of that, you also had like the femme fatale, which was women, because at this time, World War II, women were like going to work. They were working to produce the things for the war, right? So when men come back, you find that women want to be more independent now because they were working during the war. So it's like, why would we take a step back when we were there basically helping you guys along the way? We don't want to be second fiddle to you guys anymore, right? So of course, men, especially white men, were very like, what the fuck is happening, right? So then we have this birth of film noir. So fast forwarding to this movie, I think it's so interesting that like the title No Country for Old Men, I was like, why is it called that, right? But what Riley just said is we have this older individual who's looking at society as if like, what basically, where do I fit into this? Like, this is like a new age thing where it's like very murderous. It's very like crime is at an all-time high and they're doing heinous things. When I was growing up, none of this ever happened, right? On top of, I think the what is actually happening in the movie with, once like we just talked about, the sheriff, he's not doing his job. It is the film noir, right? And Riley just said he was the main character in the novel as well, which would correlate with the old film noir, right? Because this is more neo noir, since it's more new school. It's not shot in black and white. There's not really like a femme fatale, but obviously you see those elements in this movie. But the sheriff would be the main character, but he's not. That's I think that's where the neo noir comes in, where it's actually like this other side character, right? Or not really a side character, he's the main guy, but this is other guy, this normal everyday dude, right? Versus this very heinous criminal. But the cop is still playing, like he's still playing catch up with these two guys. I just thought it was really interesting, and like that made me like look at this movie like really differently. On top of the time period, which is like the 70s, right? And right.
I think it's 1980.
Oh, 1980. Which, sorry, yeah. Then that makes sense because, like I talked about this in Late Night with the Devil. Like the 70s, the 80s, we had the rise of like serial killer, like the real boom of serial, almost like a romanticizing of like serial killers, right? Was it? I was gonna start naming them, but whatever, we know them. So taking that and putting it into the time period of this movie, it's like, yeah, it makes sense maybe why Tommy Lee Jones' character feels that way, but that doesn't necessarily means that he's right. But given who he is and where he is, and it makes sense. I don't know if that sounded too rambly, but I just really enjoyed that part about the movie, going into it completely blind as well. So yeah.
Well, yeah. I get what you mean. That's exactly kind of where the title's going. It comes from a Yeats poem, I think. But yeah, the idea is that you might think that the place you live, in this case, like the United States, is becoming something that just not fit in with who you are or how you grew up. But in reality, like it's something that encompassing isn't easy to like have its very nature changed, despite what you may think. And that's it goes with the idea of the villain Anton and how he's portrayed as kind of this force of nature villain, how every single situation he gets into, he's just like stone cold. He always gets out. He if he gets injured, he just patches himself up before the next scene and just keeps going. And then at the very end, that illusion is kind of shattered when it's like, he gets into an accident, he has to pay off a kid for his shirt. And I love the parallelism of like him having to do the same thing Josh Brolin did earlier, where he after the firefight they were in, he had to pay someone off for his jacket in order to get away. And now we see Anton getting brought down to that level where he has to pay off this kid for his shirt and then like limp away. It's like he's probably not getting away from that, honestly. If he doesn't die from the injuries he receives, then he's probably going to get arrested at that point. But that illusion of him just being a force of nature is kind of destroyed. And it's right after he goes after Moss's wife, and says like, I promised your husband that if he didn't like play ball with me, if he didn't give me money, that I would come and kill you.
And he chose himself.
He still tries to make this like point of, we're gonna let the coin decide. She's like, well, that's fucking bullshit. Like, it's not the coin. You're the killer. You're the one who's deciding this. You're not some hand of fate,
Yeah.
And in the end, you asked me when we watched it, like, do I think he killed her? I think he absolutely killed her because they do this thing with the movie where it's like constantly obsessing
over feet,
keeping his feet and his feet clean, right? Like after he kills Woody Harrelson's character and the blood is like pooling across the floor while he's talking on the phone, and he like puts his feet up to keep it away. And right as he walks out of the house at the end, he kicks his shoes to make sure they're not dirty. And I think that just kind of like indicates that he made the decision to kill her. Because that's it was very emotional that way for him. Like he felt he's not a force of nature. He is a person with an ego, and he had that ego like bruised when Josh Brolin didn't play ball with him. So he had to face that. And so after he proved himself to just be like a person with a sore ego, he like gets his comeuppance by getting into a random car accident. I think it's great. It's really great.
Yeah. I also had this idea that like I think each character, like, so I think the sheriff, Josh Brolin's character, Anton, they all have like their own representation of America almost. Whereas like, of course, the sheriff is like almost like the old like jaded man or person who just kind of looks back on this like fondness of America and not truly understanding like where it's heading, whether it's good or bad. They still just they choose not to engage with it. Obviously we talked about that. I think Josh Brolin's character represents like this very youthful America who's chasing after a dream that it may not be the dream that necessarily is good for them. He is like a middle-aged man, but I think that's like perfect in terms of showing like maybe like the height of who you are as an individual, or like the height of where you think you will be. You want to be old enough to like do things like drink or go out, or whatever the case may be. But you're still fairly young and youthful, and you can still do things, i.e. kill people. But yeah, I think he's like the younger America. And I think Anton's character kind of shows like almost like the realness of America, the like complete disaster of America too. I think he's like the things that you don't want to face or engage with, I think that's like a really cool thing. I don't have like a lot of it. I could go in and try to like talk about it, but I just think
it's like the opportunist, he's the eponymous crow of A Feast for Crows. He just like is that opportunity is just going and feasting on the corpse of America, if you will, if you want to be really poetic about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. There's a lot you can dig into these characters. What else? Just like the cinematography. Anything you want to point out?
Cinematography. Of course, I think it's so hard with like early 2000s movies, just because I never know if they're ever shot like all on film or shot digitally, because this like that's like the turning point of like the millennium and like of like film in general, of like some things were shot in digital because people wanted to try it out. Some things were shot in film because that's all they knew. So it's like really I don't know, but this movie looks really beautiful, and it looks like it's shot on film. If it wasn't, it still looks amazing. I really like the color grading. A lot of like yellows and browns. I mean, they are like, I think, are they in Texas? Right.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, they're in Texas, so of course you're gonna get a lot of yellows, a lot of desert, but it still looks very beautiful. I like the funny enough, I really like the what do you call it? Like wardrobes of each character is really funny, especially Josh Brolin character is really fucking cool. The set dressing is really dope. I thought it was, and this is not so much like with the cinematography per se, but I just thought it was really interesting Antoine's weapon of choice with like the little like air fucking thing.
I was confused about that when I first watched, because he actually has like two different things. He has the cattle gun that he like used on the guy who he hijacked at the start. Where he's like, here, I'm going to put this here, and he like fucking cattle guns him to death, like blows his brain out. And then he has the shotgun with like the makeshift suppressor on it. Yeah. Right? Those are actually, I think, those are two different things that he uses.
Yeah, because
and I was a bit confused because I was like, you know, when he's having the firefight towards the middle of the movie, I'm like he's in the window up there, and Josh Brolin's down the street, and is he using that fucking cattle gun on him down there? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, no, this is a different one.
Yeah, he also used like the cattle thing to like push open doors.
The locks out.
Yeah.
So
it's just interesting. I was like, this is like so cool. I've never seen anything like that. Like even after this movie. So this movie came out in 2007. I just you know, like just so interesting.
I mean, if you want to tie it back into the theme, it's like, you know, these cattle guns are like a human invention that were used to you know, you could say they're used to lessen the suffering of animals when they're put to slaughter, but they are still this kind of efficient tool of slaughter that were invented by humans, and now they're being used by the human criminal to enact crime against his fellow man. You know, it's just another one of those things.
Also, this movie is pretty short too. It's like it maxes out at 2 hours, but I mean, not including credits, so maybe like an hour 40.
Yeah, like an hour 50 or something.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I think it but like I said, I think with movies like this, I think it was pretty like tight and neat, you know.
There's no wasted time. Like you know, I've always said I'm very susceptible to long movies and feeling their length. But you know, this is one of those movies that feels tight enough and everything's meaningful enough where I don't feel the time going by. Man, what do you think? How do you think Woody Harrelson's character fits into all this?
Oh man, fuck! I'm so glad you asked me that.
Those three main ones, but he's kind of like the odd man out.
Yeah, it's weird because even in like, I will talk about like, I love noir. I would love to make a film noir. I think it's actually one of the hardest things to write besides comedy. I think comedy is really hard because I just don't see myself as like a normally funny person. Like I couldn't write comedy. Like I'm just like, okay, if I say something funny, cool. And I think noir is like in the same sense of like, there's a lot of like it's a lot of little things in noir that once you see it, you're like, oh, that's like film noir. I think fucking Oh Boy is like neo noir, you know? And then I was trying to gauge like, what would Woody Harrelson's like archetype would be, because he's like not the detective, he's not like the criminal per se. I guess he's kind of like a detective. I think he's kind of like a if you were to take what Tommy Lee Jones' character should have been and like split him in half into like not really engaging with the plot, but also not really good at his job. It would be Woody Harrelson. He'd be the not good at his job thing.
Well, I don't know. He's introduced in a way where you think he's going to be good at his job, and I'm sure he normally is. True. But he's just put up against someone who's just too confident.
Maybe that's what they're trying to get at. I don't know, like it's a subversion of expectation of like having this guy who is like, oh, well, if anybody can solve this case, if anybody can fucking take Antoine down, it's this guy. But then it's the scene that like Antoine shows like where he like sneaks up behind him. I just knew that he had like something, but he didn't have anything, and I was like, were you not expecting this? Because you know who Antoine is.
I think I don't know. I think on one hand, it's like he's introduced and he's the one who conveys like Anton and like all the details about him to Josh Brolin.
Yeah,
which gives him like that gives us more about it, and that gives him more of an air of like this guy's a crazy killer who's just gonna get you no matter what. But the thing is, everything we've seen up to this point has already kind of told us that.
Yeah, I think if we're going by like writing, maybe it would make sense for the guy who owned who like hired Antoine originally, like that CEO guy. Maybe it would make sense that he would go out to hire someone else who could take him down. So maybe that's, just writing. But as in just watching it, I remember to myself, I was like, well, that was kind of pointless. But like I get it in a story, I guess. I understand why he's there, but I was just like, maybe you could have did without him, and I think it wouldn't have changed much in the story. Like
yeah. I mean, I like the character and I like the performance.
I like Woody Harrelson, so
and it doesn't take up that much screen time. I think it's just like an extra step just to show an extra side of this criminal side of America. Because I think he is definitely in like the criminal side.
Yeah.
Especially if he's working with the
CEO
guy who hired Anton.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But I don't know. It's just interesting. That's just one of those interesting things because you have like these big three characters, and then you have Woody Harrelson, who's like, is he gonna be like the fourth character? Is like kind of.
He also didn't give him a coin flip. He just kind of murked him.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting. Yeah, he was the one. People. We've had the big three kind of, the three. Well, I guess four if you count the CEO, but he just kind of got killed before a conversation even happened.
Yeah.
But we have these big confrontations, and Woody Harrelson's character is the first one who like tries to bargain for his life, and it just goes to show like, nah, that shit doesn't work on me. It's not about what you could gain, what I could gain. It's just you made your choice, and now you're going to die no matter what. So you might as well find some pride in your death.
Yeah, I did like Woody Harrelson be like, yeah, no, you're fucking crazy. You don't even know that, do you?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think that is reinforced by Moss's wife at the end too.
Yeah. Exactly.
Brian D shows up. Just want to say. GG Brian D. That was fucking amazing. When Riley was like, do you know who that is? I was like, Brian, I know that fucking little open mouth smug face from anywhere. He does that thing all the time where his mouth is just open. What's that dude's actual name? Let me
Josh Blaylock is
yeah. Shout out to him, man. I hope he's still doing shit. But
let's see. No, the last thing he was in it was 2017. He was on The Long Road Home, so he hasn't actually done anything since then. He has a family though, so that's nice.
That's cool.
Anyway,
at some point he was actually married to Jenny Matrix, but I don't know if he is anymore because I thought they got like a divorce or something.
They divorced 2 years after they got married. Dude, this is the Brian D show now.
Yes. No Country for Brian D.
Yeah, so I've realized this is going to be a bit of a shorter one, but that's okay. I want to talk about... I still have a couple more things to talk about. One of the big things I want to talk about is the ending here. Because something fascinating happened.
Thank you.
At the ending of this movie.
I was a bit confused. And I wanted to ask you how you feel about it. I'm so glad you brought that up. Because is it in my notes? I don't think I wrote
I absolutely am going to bring this up because one of the neatest things happened when we watched this together. We got to the end of this movie, and of course, if you know the movie, it ends with Tommy Lee Jones talking to his wife, and he gives this long monologue about a couple of dreams he had. And once he's done talking about the second dream he had with his father, it cuts to black and the credits start rolling. And this fascinating thing happened where I don't even think Chris said anything, but he went back in the movie to like kind of the start of the scene to watch it again. Because I imagine you did that because you felt like you missed something, right?
Yeah.
Chris, that is the exact same thing that happened to me when I first watched this movie. I shit you not. I did the exact same thing where I got to the end, the credits started rolling, and I'm like, wait, what? And I immediately went back to watch the scene again. And to see you do that was so funny to me.
I felt bad, like, not bad. It was just one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if I was paying attention. Like, I was like,
yeah, you get caught up in like what the movie is almost tricking you into thinking it is. And so when you're watching it for the first time, maybe you don't like kind of see where the theming's going.
mm-hmm.
And I got the same thing. I think it's just one of those things where I wouldn't blame people for being confused when they get to the end, because I was, and Chris was, and I'm sure other people were.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look back and you think about it, I think it does make sense.
Okay.
In a nebulous kind of way.
Okay, explain for me, please,
all
and
right.
for the audience.
Well,
mainly for them, not for me. I know. I know.
Of course. You're very media literate.
Yeah.
As am I. So he is telling these dreams about his father, and I it's been a week or two since we watched it, but if I'm remembering from memory, it's like the first one is his dad gave him money to go buy something in town, and something went wrong. I believe.
Okay, I got that.
He lost the money, I think, that his father had given him to go buy something.
Yeah.
And the second dream is him and his father like riding through the mountains, and his father rides ahead and builds a fire for them. And then he wakes up.
I thought he died, but he's told, like, I thought his dad died, but it was like, go on ahead, like, without me. And then he built the fire to stay alive. And I was like, what?
I don't think that was, I think it was
you're right. I think you're right.
Rode on and he built the fire.
Yeah.
And I think, well, the first one, I imagine, is like his, him believing in some subconscious way that he's disappointing his father by giving up, because I'm pretty sure they imply, if not directly say, that his father was also a lawman. And so he, at the end of this movie, is giving up because he believes that the criminal mind of America is too much for him to deal with anymore. He's like, one, too old for it, and two, even though his cousin told him that it's always been this way, he believes that it's getting to be too much for him to handle. And I think that's just a subconscious way of him, like him believing that his father would be disappointed in him for giving up. And then the second one is just, it's harder for me to contextualize, but I think it's just kind of this this kind of longing. It sort of ties into this idea of, like, he believes the olden times were simpler. There were these simple times that he would spend, like, with his father, where he like, his father is like the memory of his father is a sense of comfort for him in this case. His father goes on ahead and builds a fire for them in this treacherous mountain pass that they're going through.
Right.
And that's kind of how he remembers his father, is like just this sense of comfort, but that might be getting recontextualized when, he's thinking about everything that he's learned by this point in the movie. I'm not totally 100% on it, but it
Okay.
I do my best.
No. Thank you for that. Yeah. It definitely makes me understand a little bit more about the movie. I do wonder, would it have been easier to understand had we been following Tommy Lee just a little bit more? But, like, I'm okay with what
maybe,
the movie is, but
yeah, I think they definitely did want to go more into the idea of it being more shocking that the character who we believe to be, like, this main protagonist we're following,
and it's
be
effective.
killed off screen.
Yeah,
it is effective. And then the rest of the movie, you follow Tommy Lee Jones, who's only been kind of the secondary character.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is interesting. It would be interesting to see. I mean, maybe the book is like that, but it'd be interesting to see if those roles were switched, if we followed the sheriff more.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Interesting.
Certainly neat.
Trying to think, is there anything? How'd you feel about Moss's wife? What? Her name is two names.
Carla Jean.
Yeah. How'd you feel about her? I know she didn't play like a big role, but
Yeah, I mean, I loved her scene at the end with
Mhm.
Anton. Beyond that, I mean, it's not. Yeah, again, it's not a very big role. It's just kind of a she occasionally meets with the sheriff to talk about him, and you think she made different decisions along the way, that things might have turned out differently, but
Mhm.
at the same time, she was just kind of like going along with uh, whatever Llewellyn told her. You know.
Mhm. And it had been in quite some time too, because she said she had spent all the money. It was like $2 million, wasn't it, that he left her?
Again, I don't remember if if the money got her. No, she said she spent all the money from what was it? It was
From like her
like some
mother,
insurance payout, something from
yeah,
the mother, I think.
because she ended up
Um,
passing away.
yeah, that was her funeral at the end. Um, like maybe it was some kind of life insurance thing on her, but I don't remember. But I don't think she got the money. I'm pretty sure either the money just sat where Josh Brolin threw it into the river, like
Yeah.
at the riverbed on the border, or he went and got it, and then the cartel got it when they killed him.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
that's
don't
fair.
remember for sure, but or even if they say it all, but I don't think she got it because she was living in that like a crappy little house by herself, and
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be the case. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have lasted that long if she had the money and was spending it.
True.
I'm pretty sure Anton would have gone after her and taken it earlier if he knew she had it. I think he was just going after her because, again, because he promised he would.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's interesting. He killed those guys at the beginning too. Those like the dudes that he was with, which I thought was
Oh,
interesting,
yeah. So those are the other guys who were hired
by
by
the CEO
the
guy.
dude. Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy who just doesn't have a name. But like, yeah, he went out with them, and then they gave him the tracker to the money, and then he deems them no longer useful to the hunt. You know, he'd been hired to go get the money, and that's all he cared about. And he had decided that they no longer served a purpose towards getting the money anymore, so he had no
Yeah.
use for them.
It's fucking,
Just like another idea of like this just complete utilitarian way of thinking about this.
yeah, it's fucking crazy, man.
He killed a lot of people.
He killed. Oh, I didn't. Once again, I'm gonna say this a lot. I did not expect this movie to be as like gory as it was.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I was like,
Pretty
this
wild.
is like fucking bloody. This is crazy. This is on some fucking Tarantino shit.
Yeah, every time they blow someone's head out, there's like it looked like I'm pretty sure it's still not enough because like there's a lot of blood in the human head, but there's a lot of blood compared to other movies in people's heads in this.
Yeah,
I like it. I like how visceral it is.
it's good, man. It's good stuff.
Yep. All right. Anything else we need to talk about this one?
I don't know, man. It feels strange that it's kind of short, but like
I expected it to be kind of short because just like it's a very
point A to point B.
You see what what you get is what you get. I mean, I just love each of the little individual set pieces you have. Like, I love him going to the new motel and like paying off the guy at the desk and telling him to call if anything happens, and he
calls.
quickly realizes. Yeah, he calls down to the desk and no one answers.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
You can hear the phone ringing.
Yeah, dude, that's so crazy. And I love how long they draw out him sitting on the bed waiting. And they give you like a momentary anticlimax where the lock gets blown out. It's like, oh, fuck. And then he like the action explodes from that point.
Yeah, what's crazy is so much pressure. It like hits him, and he's like, "Oh fuck!" Like that shit hurts.
Yeah, I've broken a rib or something. But I love how like right before that, you can hear like the hissing of like the pressure tank, and you know what that means. Like we've become accustomed to what that means is about to happen. You know?
Yeah,
it's great.
I also like I love the whole the fucking the tracker anyway, because he's driving. Like Anton's not even driving to find out where it is. I think he's just driving away from somewhere, because isn't that rather the phone book thing?
Yeah,
and it just so happens to beep, and he's like, wait a minute.
Well, he's like going on like a vibe base. Like it would hope like the most likely scenario is that it's this way. There might be some clue he's going on, but I don't quite remember at this point. But yeah, the tracker beeping is so great. Like when he's driving past the motel and it's like getting faster, and then it starts slowing down, and he like pulls back, and he's like, there's almost no emotion being displayed there, but you can still see what's going on in his head.
I feel like the motel shit also kind of hints at the ending. Like once again, it ends in the motel. The cartel actually is in that apartment.
Yeah.
Before Antoine. And I think that kind of alludes to them they're always going to be a step ahead of Antoine. I think that's really cool. Interesting. I didn't really think about that until just now.
Oh man, the part where he's at the last guy in the motel, and he like closes the shower curtain and shoots it behind him. The blood sprays right in front of him off the curtain. That's wild.
God, you know what's crazy is he saw him in the mirror, and I was like, dude, I bet that guy was like, I wish that mirror was fucking, bro, because he shoots a guy through the door or some shit like that. And I thought, like, I bet he was thinking, like, damn, why couldn't he shoot the mirror too or whatever? But yeah. Fucking crazy, dude.
Yep. You got a dead dog in this movie.
Oh yeah, does the dog die? There's 2 dogs that die.
Is there? What's the
so
one?
the very first dog that he's following dies, right? He like walks back towards, the dog is walking. He's running away. Like how the movie starts, the dog is running away from the fight, their initial battle.
Yeah. I thought it was just dead dogs out there, but there might be one. Though.
Oh, maybe that's one. I thought that one had died, but maybe it just walked away off screen because then he follows the blood back to where the money is, and then the other one is when does Antoine shoot him? No. What's the name? Kills him.
No.
Kills out of the water.
I love I love when he gets chased through the river by the dog, and when he gets up on shore and the dog's coming after him, he has to sit there and like put a new clip, like a dry clip in, and he like blows into the gun to try and like do his best to dry it out before he fires. Yeah. It's so good. Like that's a great detail. I love it.
Cool. It's cool. Dude, Josh Brolin, man. I really liked him in his movie, and I felt so bad for him. He just could not catch a break, bro.
I mean, he had a chance to catch a break, but he believed himself to be capable enough to get himself out of it, and it just turned out that, he didn't have what it takes, I guess.
Yeah.
But, well, I guess he was given the choice by Anton about, if he did give him the money, he wasn't gonna let him live. He just said, I won't go after your wife if you do that. In that case, you might as well try and fight, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. He might have had a chance. If it was just him and Antoine, maybe.
If it wasn't the
cartel, yeah. That was fucking crazy. Even fucking Antoine was hiding.
Yeah, there's the interesting scene about Sheriff Bell going back to the apartment, and it's framed as if Anton is there trying to hide, like from like he's like right there, but it turns out that was like earlier,
Wait,
he's not actually there.
Oh, he's not?
I'm pretty sure that was the case, but I could be wrong.
I thought what happened was, so the cartel does the thing. Anton gets there. He finds out like, oh fuck, he's already fucking dead. But then the cops show up right after that. So then Antoine has to hide. But I guess that wouldn't make any sense because they had like the crime fucking tape up and everything. So they clearly have already.
It was like at night, so like the police had already gone, even though the crime scene is like still set up.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's framed in a way where it's like you're supposed to think that Anton is there and Bell is about to find him.
Yeah.
But when he enters the room, he's gone. So either he just left or he was there earlier and he left.
They show like the gate open. So I thought he had literally just left. And it was just
it might be
that fucking he didn't kill the sheriff, basically.
It might be. Yeah. But
yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah, I think that's about it. I don't have many other big thoughts to throw out.
Me neither, but I do have a question for you.
Yeah, what?
Would you have went back to give that guy some water?
You
already took the money. You're already like you're already at home. You've already talked to your wife or significant other. What do you do next? Are you going back? Like, what is your plans, Riley? What are you doing with this money?
Well, I would. Fuck, it's illegally gained money. That makes it harder. I can't like speak with a financial advisor and talk about investing it.
I think you could. Like the thing is like, I don't want to.
I wouldn't go
If
back.
there's any financial advisor listening to this podcast, take what I say with a grain of salt. But you could buy people off. Riley. I think you could just buy a financial advisor and be like, "Can you just invest this for me?" And they're like, "Where you get the money?" Be like, "Don't worry about that. I'll slide you a little extra 10K on
instead of
top."
a blind trust so that no one's allowed to first get.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I would go back. I mean, I would be of the mindset that this person, yeah, he's suffering and needs water, but I mean, he's in the life of crime and he knew what he was getting himself into. And me giving him water will probably only prolong his suffering because he's probably going to die. Anyway.
I was going to say, like, this guy was shot up. Water was not going to nurse this guy back to health. He was done.
I mean, obviously that's not his intention. He's just like trying to give him some relief before he dies. But
right.
I would not want to get, especially it's not dark because the sun sets, but it's dark because a storm's coming in. I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think I would have been good. I probably would have got caught though because the whole tracker thing. But I don't know. Like I'm like the type,
and that's what I was mentioning to you earlier. That if he didn't go back.
Yeah,
if he didn't go back and he didn't realize that like the cartel was chasing him, like like not the survivors, but the people behind this deal were coming after the money, then he would have just gotten killed in his home, like without even knowing.
Yeah,
he would have just gotten murdered.
The only reason I was like,
he didn't go back, so I would be killed if I had this money.
Maybe because I think Josh Brolin was smart enough to maybe like pour the money out though prior to. But it's just a matter of like how quickly, because he knew he was being chased down for it, and still it didn't take him till like he had gotten settled in the hotel or in like the second hotel, before he realized that he was being tracked. Because I also am a person though. I like to if I'm gonna get big money like that, let me count. See how much this little, you know what I mean? How much I got here. Especially back in those days, it's not like you had like a fucking counting machine, not you personally. So you probably would have just been like, all right, let me see how much we have before we take off,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And that's all I got. Next, are we doing Marvel again? You want to do Thor?
We could do that.
And then after
stuff we have on the docket, but
after that, I have a movie I want to show you.
All right,
another
so Thor,
spooky
spooky
movie.
And then I don't know, maybe I'll bring something. I don't know. Oh, we got to do Lord of the Rings at some point.
Yeah, are we gonna rewatch the first one?
Yeah,
I would
we're just gonna do the regular edition.
The director's cut was really long.
I made the mistake of doing the extended. I love the extended, but for a first time watcher, I will agree with the fucking Costner now. That's not a good idea to do that. Except for one scene. We're going to watch one extended scene from the third movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe I could watch the extended again, maybe. I think it was really hard because there was a lot going on. We were like at the boonies, we were chilling. And
I know Max doesn't listen to these, so I can just say this. I blame Max.
All right.
Fair. Yeah, no, we'll do the regulars because also we're very busy people but hey, we don't have to worry about that for like a month or two.
Yeah.
Any daring questions we got for today?
No,
the money one.
No, that was my money question.
Let's see. Do I have any daring questions for you? How have you been in like just life recently?
I wanted to just start asking you that in general, like at the beginning of the podcast, just because I feel like it's really good to just kind of
like settle in,
settle in, check in on each other.
Icebreakers, yeah. I've been doing good. Yeah, how are you doing?
Pretty okay. I just need money. It's kind of hard in this economy, but other than that, we're good.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm getting settled. I'm almost done with my probationary period at my job, so I'll hopefully be beyond the risk of being fired for no reason. I've successfully lost 20 pounds in 2 months.
Oh shit!
So,
What you been doing? What's your secret?
just fucking working at the post office. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
a
you
lot
just
of
stress.
walk
Losing.
in, lots of lifting. It'll happen. So I'm happy about that. That was one of my hopes for starting a new job.
Yeah,
It's
uh
good.
I've been doing a lot of film stuff. So
Yeah.
I have finished one. Well, finished in a finished production. We're in post production right now for one
Nice.
film. I acted in another film very shortly. I'm really excited
are we
about
gonna-
that. But
Are we gonna do a podcast episode on your movie when it comes
oh
out?
my god, that would be crazy. I mean, it's only like 10 minutes.
Okay, maybe we'll
Roughly.
do it as like a either an intro or outro, like a mini
A
pod as
mini,
part of a bigger pod.
I
Or
mean,
we could
there
do
is
we could do like we're gonna talk about these 5 short films.
like one of them is mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like,
Called Short
because
Film Sunday.
I'm technically a part of like sort of like a production company, and so we could do like all their films, including mine, and we could be like, oh, this is what I like. This is what
Yeah,
That'd be really
neat.
cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited about like a lot of stuff that's down the pipeline of just creating. I want to start doing stuff for my YouTube. Like I want to start doing like video dissections and stuff like that. So I just
work.
yeah, it's just a lot of work. That's the thing is like I already stress enough. Like if I had enough time to do it, I would do it, but
Yeah.
I just can't. But it is something I want to do.
Since I had the day off today, I decided to film the 3rd episode of my StarCraft series, which I haven't recorded in 2.5 years. I thought about re-recording the first 2 episodes, and I decided no, it'd be funnier if, because I haven't even released the first 2 episodes,
Yeah.
I decided it'd be funnier if I just start the 3rd episode. I'm going to release them all pretty close together, and just start the 3rd episode by saying, all right, I haven't filmed in 2.5 years. All right, let's get started.
You should do like a zoom in on like, because I don't know, is it filmed? Is it like uploaded but just not posted?
I have 2 there unlisted on my channel.
Yeah, if you could like zoom in on like the upload like 2 years ago, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, it's always exciting. I'm excited to do like the zombie shit. Like I'm like, it's cool to get back into zombies because I really do love zombies, and I think our content there is always really fun.
I'll do another one of those hopefully soon.
Yeah,
Alex will be fixed with all his stuff.
I wanted to ask you something, and then I totally fucking forgot what it was. Was it about a movie? I'm not even sure. I'm so sorry. I think it was about like content creating, but I guess I kind of forgot about it.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah,
we'll keep it for next pod.
Yeah, we'll keep it for next pod. I'm excited to get into Thor because I know you want to really talk about that. So.
I have some thoughts on that movie, and I'll be happy to lay them down.
And I've only seen it once. I don't really remember it, to be honest.
Yeah, I know we'll get one step closer to Riley's hot takes about the Avengers.
Oh man, I'm so excited! Why, dude? I love that fucking movie. I'm so ready.
Yep.
This is when Marvel movies start getting fucking good because right after that we get fucking Iron Man 3, baby. I was just talking to Max about Iron Man 3. And I was just like, dude, that movie's fucking amazing because we're talking about Captain America killing people, and
yes.
And I was like, yeah, that guy. We were like, I was like, yeah, that guy died. And Max was like, yeah, man. What's great about Captain America is he actually kills people, right? And I was like, yeah, you remember that time? And he was like, does Iron Man kill people? And I was like, I'm sure he does. I'm like, we talked about like all the terrorists he killed, right? And I was like, oh wait, and then it was the Mandarin where he like puts his suit on him and he just blows up in his suit. Yeah. I was like, that's pretty fucking hardcore. And then I was like, I love Iron Man 3. that was
the one villain guy, the one extremist villain guy on the plane, where he just like shoots him through the chest with his unibeam, like point blank range. That guy did it.
Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
Plug your socials. Let's get these people out of here.
All right. Well, I want to plug my socials in a way that allows us to get to 1 hour because I feel like that would be nice and uniform. All right. Let's see. Isolation on YouTube. What's coming down the pipeline? Hopefully some StarCraft content because I've been trying to get that out for 2.5 years. Hopefully some zombies soon. We'll
Yep.
see. I'm gonna need some killer thumbnails eventually, but you know, we have time. Maybe we want to bank a couple more before we do that. More of my existing series that are all finished, but I still need to slowly upload, but I don't have time because I'm very lazy. So Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, you can find all that on Isolation. Twitch, also Isolation. I streamed a couple times last year, so maybe I could do that some more. And that is it. No more. No more. Again, I haven't joined Blue Sky yet, but if I keep saying it during the pod, I might
almost,
someday.
dude. Go on. Yeah, so for me, Modern Day Age on everything. Modern Day Age with 2 E's on Twitter. Rose-colored.boy or rose.colored-boy. Don't remember. I think it's rose-colored.boy, but with 2 Y's on Instagram. So follow me there. I post really cool things. If you like cool things, I post those. What's coming down the pipeline? Film stuff. Hopefully. Film takes a long time. Don't know when it's going to start. Hopefully I start posting smaller things in order to fill your dark soul with light. Other than that, that's all I got. Yeah, anything you want to say to the people before we head out?
Next time we'll be talking about Thor, and it'll be fun. So I hope to see you, Thor.
That was good.
Is that doing anything?
Low key, you should save a really good intro for next time. See what I did there?
All right. Yep. All right. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.